I'm the Bunny Man.
And I'm Crazy Susie.
And we are in the Eyes of Terror. And happy Thanksgiving here in the United States.
This is our Gobble Gobble series.
Yes. And we open it up
with one of our favorite films.
Is it really one of our favorite films?
Not the original one is. The first one.
Yeah, the first one is.
This is the sequel. And it's pretty all over the place.
So, one of our, I don't know, even know how to put it.
Traditional.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Films.
Every holiday we have films that we traditionally watch. And traditionally, at Thanksgiving, we watch ThanksKilling. Well, this is the sequel to ThanksKilling. We don't typically watch this one. We watch the original one.
It's in the rotation. It's just it's usually playing in the background when it's on.
But this one, it's all over the place.
So strap in for an insane review, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Let's start with what are we drinking?
I'm having vanilla chai, hot.
And I am finishing off my Oktoberfest stuff. I have a Yuengling Oktoberfest. This is actually, Yuengling is my college beer, because I went to college not far where Yuengling was
produced.
Yeah. So, and it was cheap there. And I like that better than, let's say, I like Budweiser. So, doesn't really disappoint. Again, it's one of those Mauzen beers. And it just has a slight hint, but it still has that stouty flavor that Yuengling has. This out of all of them, this one is, if you're lucky to get even just the basic Yuengling, obviously just getting that. Like I said, it's pretty cheap, and you can get them in like tall boys and stuff, so. Of course, we don't condone underage drinking and all that other stuff, but.
This film is not rated, and we found it on Tubby TV and on Prime. Mm-hmm. And IMDb gives it a 3.1 out of 10. It is listed as a horror comedy. It is 1 hour and 39 minutes long. The director is Jordan Downey. He is also one of the writers, along with Mike Will Downey and Kevin Stewart.
The cast is
Daniel Usaj, I imagine. I'm sure I didn't say it correctly.
Yeah.
Plays Uncle Donny. Joe Hartzler plays Jefferson. Preston Altree plays Nibla. Benjamin Siemon plays Mrs. Turkey. Mike Litzenberg plays Greg Garbage. Bridget Stewart plays FrankenTurkey. Wanda Lust plays Naked Astronaut. Christina Bivens plays Newscaster. Jordan Downey plays Turkey, Yomi, and the Wise Turkey, and Muff's voice.
And many, many more at IMDb.com.
Yeah, the entire list will be on IMDb. The budget for this film was $112,000. And the storyline is a foul-mouthed villain, Turkey, carves through the likes of a rapping grandma, a mindless puppet, a wig-wearing inventor, a bisexual space worm, and their equally ridiculous friends on his quest to recover the last copy of ThanksKilling 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty much all over the place. It's a lot to soak up.
This movie is one of those movies that I really wouldn't suggest letting small kids watching.
No, it's not appropriate at all for small children. It's not appropriate to watch while small children would even walk through the room. There's a lot of foul language. The opening scene shows breasts, so yeah, it's not appropriate for children of a lot of ages.
So, what ThanksKilling movie wouldn't be a ThanksKilling movie without gratuitous breast shot at the beginning of the film? But these breasts are special breasts. These breasts are in space.
Astronaut woman breasts in space.
Although if you look at the design of the suit, I think the suit is compromised.
Yeah, but
there is no
logic does not play a part. in this
there are
film.
no bowls over the space breasts.
Yeah,
they're just sort of chilling in the space void.
Yeah. So the movie begins with boobs in space.
Space boobs.
A chick in an astronaut suit is floating in space with the breasts of the spacesuit cut out. Boobs. So you can see her boobs hanging out. A turkey crossing sign floats by a spaceship.
Not space boobs.
Flies by, being flown by turkey. He shoots her and says, "Ha ha! Nice tits." Then the B word.
Yep.
Bunny Man says I can't say the B word. He says I can't say
Right.
foul language, but
Gobble, gobble.
I tend to have quite a sailor mouth, so I have to behave myself.
Or you could have just said nice tits, gobble, gobble, gobble.
Yeah. He does say gobble gobble a lot.
Yeah.
In space.
In space.
His ship is then shown from a side view. And it looks like a turkey baster.
I think it is a turkey baster.
The captions. The captain, who is a pumpkin pie, compliments his shooting. They speed off. The titles of the film is shown.
You know what the name of the captain was?
What?
It was Captain Pilot. Not pilot. Pilot.
Yeah.
He was a
And
talking
someone
pumpkin pie.
says, legend has it, ThanksKilling 2 was the worst movie ever made. Only one copy remained, and Turkey would stop at nothing to get it.
Then we go into the credits with some guys in gas masks and flamethrowers burning copies of like the movie, games, advertisement. And it's
Then
all
they
set,
took one copy and just threw it in the garbage.
yeah, and it's all set to this like really weird, well, not really, just this generic techno beat.
Mm-hmm. And then you hear the
It's also sort of psychedelic because
there's a lot of crazy colors.
Yeah.
And then you hear the speaker say, "For every monster, there is a hero. Our story begins here." You see a big truck driving through a desert. The truck stops. A person, then another gets out.
Yeah, this is the
Right.
intro scene.
I just missed the part with where it says, "For every monster, there's a hero."
Yeah.
And then that's when
The intro begins.
the intro begins, right? Where they destroy the DVDs. And then, like we said, they dumped one in the garbage. What I found to be interesting is how they light the movies on fire. They use a flamethrower.
Yeah. like halfway across the desert too.
In the desert also, a meteor hits. The meteor ends up being this like almost robotic type being. His name is Muff. And he has within him this worm creature. He says Turkey is not going to be happy when he sees they go and look where all these DVDs were destroyed, and Worm says Turkey is going to be very unhappy. So then we see where Turkey is now. You know, it's modern.
Well,
it's today.
I wouldn't say it's modern. It's set like in 1950s.
Well, no, it says today, like it's modern day, like it's there
but
today.
I mean, it just reminds me of like a Leave It.
That's not what I meant.
No, I'm just saying it reminds me of a Leave It to Beaver setup. That's what I was trying to get at.
So Turkey is at his home, and he's just, you know, chilling or whatever. It's his 514th birthday.
He's not all that pleased about it.
His family is getting on his nerves. Turkey's son, Nibla, used his allowance money to purchase the Pluckmaster 3000. It will pluck and cook a turkey in 30 seconds. Awfully weird that a turkey would buy a machine that could pluck it and cook it in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's all, you know, it's all the rage, so.
Yeah, he's like, all the kids at school are talking about it. It's so great. Yeah, He has Turkey to watch the infomercial because all of the kids in school are talking about it. Breaking news comes on saying ThanksKilling 2 is no more. Turkey's wife said she didn't want him to find out this way, especially on his birthday. He gets mad because she knew about this and said nothing. She said his movie friend called and said his movie was worse than the toilet paper commercial where it shows people actually wiping their butts.
It was very graphic on how they explained it.
Yeah, and she made a couple of other snide remarks that I'm not going to repeat because they wouldn't be appropriate. And he snaps and actually takes the knife that was going to be used to cut his cake and chops her in half.
So we get our first kill.
No, the first kill was the chick, the astronaut chick.
Okay. Alright, so kill number 2.
Turkey shot her in space.
Yeah, I really didn't even write that.
Pew pew!
Yeah.
Nice tits! Pew pew!
Yeah.
But you got to see her boobies. Pew pew!
I give that a rating of space boobs. Okay. I guess we have kill number 2. I give this actually a 3 out of 5 because you could actually
see the brains and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually a pretty accurate dissection.
It was like gooey looking and everything.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And
after that, Turkey decides to go back to his old self of being evil.
Right.
And tries to conscript his son, Nibla.
Yeah, he tells his son to be evil with him.
Oh, there is a scene in this whole thing that sort of grosses me out a little bit. I know it's a bird thing, but it was pretty disgusting, the whole regurgitation thing with the cake.
You think that's necessary?
Huh?
Do you think that's necessary?
What? I'm just saying, I'm just sort of giving actually more of a warning to anybody who's watching it. It's like, there is that scene. It's just sort of disgusting. So he decides to go evil, and then the next scene, they decide to go flying Frank's Seagull taxi service, which was also advertised on the television. Again, Nibla and Frank the Seagull are starting to drive Turkey up the wall because Frank keeps going on about how he can't fly and how, you know, he's such a great turkey though, but it must suck that he can't fly and all this other stuff. So he pushes Nibla off of the bird and he goes splat and turns into sidewalk pizza. And then Turkey jumps off Frank and then lands beside him, and Nibla can still talk, although he's the sidewalk pizza, and he steals, Turkey steals Nibla's soul. He possesses...
He puts it into the movie.
Yeah, he possesses it into the movie. Yeah. So then at this time we also meet the other character, Yomi.
Yomi.
And
Yomi, the hero, wakes up in a dumpster. She talks to a garbage creature,
Greg,
and a strange cartoon cat who's on a backpack. The garbage creature coughs up ThanksKilling 2 and gives it to her. She is looking for her brain.
Because at the beginning of the movie, it decided to go on vacation.
Did you even do a rating? No.
No, there was no.
Okay. She is looking for her brain, but he seems to think she needs the movie now. She uses the backpack with the cartoon cat on it and puts the movie in to carry it with. If I can turn the page, that would be helpful. She sees the man from the Pluckmaster 3000 commercial. And
Donny.
Yes, and he helps her to get out of the dumpster. She sees his flyer and asks him a bunch of questions. He offers to show her Thanksgiving.
Because she swears up and down that her mind is at Thanksgiving.
So Yomi goes home with Donny, his friend Jefferson. They live together along with Jefferson's mom, Florence. Flois, okay. They dress up in powdered wigs and plan on opening Thanksgiving Land.
Except for Flois, who is a rapping granny.
Mm-hmm.
Who's a bit of a tart.
Yeah, Flois bashes them because she thinks the theme park idea is stupid. They argue and poke fun at each other. The cloth covering the Pluckmaster 3000 prototype is removed. Donny gets upset. Yomi asks, why don't we use it? Because he was going to bake a pie. The doorbell rings. Jefferson goes to answer it. It was Turkey at the door. He kills Jefferson. He spreads some...
Well, Jefferson thought it was... So he's been waiting for his long pike this entire time. Yeah. Which is just a pike for... It's basically a stick with... It's like a spear, basically. Mm-hmm. And so he's rigged his own pike because he's the head of security. And it's a stick with a...
butter knife.
Butter knife on top of it.
Yeah, like taped to the end of it.
So Turkey answers the door. He envisions his long pike is there, and then this weird sequence, and we find out that Turkey sliced him all up with the pike that he was supposed to be getting.
So Jefferson is dead, and Turkey takes the butter knife and spreads some of Jefferson on some toast, takes a bite of it, throws the leftovers in the fridge, and says this whole little spiel about how if you really want to enjoy your Thanksgiving feast, be sure to put your leftovers in the fridge and preserve them properly. That way the next morning, you can still enjoy your leftovers.
On Black Friday.
He went through this whole spiel. Well, in the meantime, everybody else, Yomi, Donny, and Flois, they run and go get in the pantry.
Yeah, whatever that's going to do.
Turkey only dismisses them. Muff and Worm are still in the desert. Worm contacts News Nerd to get directions. Donny and Jefferson's mom and Yomi escape. The old lady tells Donny off. Donny tells the story about what happened to his family. He says he was so close to perfect. The perfect Thanksgiving dinner. He just needed Murphy's stuffing. So he sent his wife and child out to get it. Well, who else likes Murphy's stuffing? Wolves.
Yep, wolves.
Who knew? Well, the wolves got the stuffing and they got a side of wife and child. I turned off the Plugmaster 3000 and haven't turned it on in 10 years.
So cars don't exist, obviously. Don't know how that whole wolves thing transpired.
This movie, like I said, it's all over the place. It's just kind of out there. And then he started working on Thanksgiving Land. Niblet possessing Thanksgiving 2, he jumps out of Donny's hand and throws it at Florence. She catches it. An old wise turkey appears on the path. He says, "You're at the gates of the feather world, an afterlife for turkeys." He brought them here to help hundreds of years ago. Wise turkeys guarded the land before the hunting and plucking plagued the land. There is an evil one who is cursed. He goes by turkey. Take this, let it guide you. He gives Yomi a breastbone. The wishbone, he tells Donny. Turkey sees something in Yomi.
Because supposedly turkey doesn't possess a wishbone. So that's the only thing they can feed him. Or,
He doesn't possess a wishbone? Okay.
Yeah.
Turkey sees something in Yomi. Stick by her side. He will kill anyone, protect her, like she is one of your own. Follow the wishbone, and you will find your mind. He disappears, and the ground starts to shake. They are back inside Donny's house. Turkey says, "You have what I want, Yomi. Bring what I want. I have your brain." Turkey gets the movie. Then Muff blows a hole in the wall.
And we find out the name of the worm guy. His name's Rhonda.
Worm is upset.
Rhonda.
Rhonda. I like calling him Worm. Worm is upset with Turkey
I like calling him Rhonda.
for leaving him pregnant. I don't understand
Yeah.
how. Donny and Yomi pull the lever on the Pluckmaster. Turkey fights as he gets pulled inside. Turkey gets plucked, stuffed, and roasted. Then he is thrown through the window. Rhonda explains that he met Turkey on the set of ThanksKilling 2. They were co-stars and lovers. Turkey told him during pillow talk that he planted a curse into the script of his movie to force people who watch it to follow him. So it was the last copy, even though it was possessed by the spirit of Little Nibla, must be destroyed and must be done in space where it was created. Rhonda created a vortex from Muff's anus.
Yeah. And really another very awkward, sexually explicit scene.
Yeah. With Turkey's last breath, he calls upon minions to rebuild him.
No, he necromancies the other dead turkeys.
They're minions.
But I like the word necromancy. You like worm guy, I like necromancy.
They give him a chainsaw for his penis because they cannot find it.
No. Well, yeah, but he calls it a winky wink. So I would, and plus, I'm trying to stay away from like penis and stuff like that too. So winky wink.
That's a proper term.
I know.
He also called it the D word, and you won't let
Yeah.
me say that.
We're a clean podcast.
A penis is the scientific term.
Yeah. So he replaces it with a chain.
So we can't say penis, but we can say tits and boobs and all that. Really?
Fine, we can say penis. I just like the term. I don't know why I like the weird, stupid term of winky wink.
Winky wink.
Yeah.
He said, we couldn't find your winky wink. He's like, what do you mean? We couldn't find what was your hangy do, your hangy down, and he called it all this other stuff, and he goes, you couldn't find my D?
Yeah.
What the hell, man? We'll replace it with the chainsaw. Yeah.
Well, because every good, like Ash-like character replaces said hand with a chainsaw. Why not a winky wink?
Every male needs their phallic symbol to be a chainsaw. Powerful tool, right?
Yeah.
Can chop down wood.
Is the whole new meaning of morning wood.
Okay. Where was that?
Also gives a whole new meaning to splitting you in half.
Worm created a vortex from Muff's anus.
Yeah, we got there. We're talking about
Chainsaw
winky wink.
Chainsaw winky wink. Flois, she gives Turkey his last snob job. Huh? The last snob job she would ever give.
To Turkey?
Yep.
I don't remember that.
Turkey takes the chainsaw and shoves it in her mouth.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Flois is no more, but she went out with a bang.
Oh. Well, she was good.
She went out doing what she loved to do.
And then Jefferson, the gates going, come on, Flois. Come on. God is waiting for his slop top. There's no evil turkeys up here.
Yeah.
I wish they would add that line in there.
Murph, Yomi, Donny take on the minions. Turkey cuts her arm off. Cuts Yomi's, actually her hand off. He jumps into the oven of the Pluckmaster and runs away with the movie. Worm makes Donny realize that Yomi is just a puppet. Because they're like, oh no, Yomi's hurt. And Worm's like, do you not realize what she is? He gets Donny to put his hand up her
puppet hole.
Right as he gets his hand up there, she wakes up. Donny asks her if she's okay. She says she saw her mind in the oven. Only Yomi and Worm would fit, so Donny and Muff stayed behind. As they're going through the oven, they hear voices telling them to turn back. Voices from all of the desiccated turkeys that have been sacrificed.
Oh, they're in turkey hell. All the turkeys that have gone in their stead for delicious, delicious food.
Donny works on fixing Muff's cannon arm. They come across the minions and pretend they are turkeys, with the fake beaks making gobble gobble noises. Next they see Turkey.
Yeah, that's the only disguise that they have, are fake beaks.
They see Turkey hook Nibla up to a machine and blast ThanksKilling 2 out to every electronic device.
Yeah, but he's streaming it. It was supposed to be a high-tech hell streamer.
Turkey sees them and has FrankenTurkey, who wishes to be called Blarth, come and take care of them. Yomi pulls Nibla off of the machine. Yomi and Worm run back toward the house with Nibla. She gets a premonition about her brain.
Her mind.
Worm is injured, and Muff hugs him tight, which smashes him. This upsets him so much that he shoots himself in the head. As Donny is trying to help Muff, Turkey shows up. So does the wise Turkey. They work on trying to start the vortex. Turkey and wise Turkey agree to fight to the death.
And in any good fight to the last death, you have to do an 8-bit. That's the only way.
Worm regenerates because apparently he doesn't die. Worm gets the vortex going. Yomi goes to throw Nibla into the vortex. Turkey blocks her. Yomi slaps Turkey with the wishbone. Stabs. Yomi stabs Turkey with the wishbone. Turkey's severed head comes up to Yomi as she's being sucked into the vortex, which this doesn't make any sense to me because in one scene she is stabbing Turkey with the wishbone. Mm-hmm. She's just stabbing. She stabbed him one time. And then in the next scene, all you see is his severed head.
So maybe the wishbone made him explode?
I
don't know.
There's no explanation of how it went.
Oh, okay. You're asking an explanation in this movie.
It just doesn't make...
You see the issue there.
Yeah. Okay. It says it will haunt her for eternity. Worm finds his saxophone in Muff's head. Yomi tells Donny her search is over and tells Worm he is the coolest space worm she has ever met. She lets go of Donny's hand and goes slowly into the vortex. And so she found her mind, and with it, her home.
And then at the end of it all, Uncle Donny goes to an old amusement park with Muff and Wanda and puts his Thanksgiving land.
No.
Yeah.
It says the next day, Donny begins construction on Thanksgiving land.
Well, it looks like it's an abandoned one. And he's laying out where everything's going to go, such as the gravy, the...
Jefferson says, he is security in heaven. Keep your arms and legs inside the bride. And Turkey interrupts and says, gobble gobble.
So I feel like they left it over for a sequel.
I'm not sure what other insanity they're going to come up with, but...
Alright, so I give this movie a 2 out of 5, which is really weird because I really like surrealistic off-the-wall movies, but...
It was like they went to a Goodwill and they found whatever weird crap they could find to throw in this movie because Yomi makes no sense whatsoever. These powdered wigs that are supposedly supposed to be in Thanksgiving make no sense.
Well, I mean, the whole thing, it seemed like they had 1,000 different ideas and they couldn't focus on one, so they threw all 1,000 ideas into one movie. And then they were hoping that, they could... Because, honestly, the first one was a huge success for them. And they self-distributed and everything. So it was a huge success. And this one is a fair comparison to the first one.
This one's all over the place. The first one actually was cohesive.
Well, I mean, cohesive in the weirdest way, but yeah. This one, it was just like they had money and they just like ran with it. Like, we could do this and this and this and this, instead of being very limited what they had. So, yeah, this one just really didn't do anything for me other than me scratching my head, and a lot of it was just sort of awkward, but it wasn't that funny. Turkey was not Turkey. If that, he wasn't puntastic. He wasn't.
It seems like this movie was more about Yomi than Turkey.
Yeah.
Yomi was in it more than Turkey was.
But again, Yomi wasn't that interesting.
But it seems like it was more about her than it was about Turkey.
No, I get it. It was just... But she wasn't that interesting of a character. I mean, and again, it was all over the place. Makes very little sense. It has very little to do with Thanksgiving. And it almost seemed like Thanksgiving and Turkey were sort of an afterthought to this whole thing. And there's a lot of, like, boring parts in it. That's the weird thing. Like in the original one, there really wasn't that many boring parts. So, it's just... I'm not a huge fan of this movie. As much as I love ThanksKilling. This movie was just... It just seemed like it was made by completely different people.
Yeah.
And they made a sequel, well, a trilogy about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I get the joke behind the whole thing in space, but usually that's like the fourth or fifth film. That's usually not the sequel. Usually in like horror movie, name it like Jason or Pinhead or whatever, Leprechaun, it's usually like the fourth or fifth movie, not usually the second one. Usually the second one is usually as good, if not somewhat better, than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Then the third one starts sort of going downhill a little bit. Then the fourth one sort of just like, why did you even bother to make this? And then the fifth one, they're just, like, let's do it in space. And then the sixth one, they're like, well, we went too far. Let's try to bring it back a little bit. If they were going to go with that as their sort of lineup, then they really screwed the pooch on that too. So, like I said, the second one, the whole thing about, ThanksKilling 2 was supposed to be a family-friendly space adventure. That was the whole premise of it. It was just very weird. So what did you think of it?
I thought it was very hard to follow, and it was just... For a movie that was an hour and 30 minutes long, it felt like it was 4 hours long.
Like I said, it really wasn't that interesting. There really wasn't that many jokes in it. And what jokes there were crude.
I expected there to be crude jokes, but
I don't
it
mind.
felt like it drug on.
I don't mind crude jokes, but when it just becomes like, okay, you're just being crude for crude's sake. The whole, like, thing with the warming up of the vortex thing. That was a little... Was that really necessary?
You want to do the trivia?
Yeah. Marketed as the first film to skip its own sequel, ThanksKilling 3 follows ThanksKilling. As of 2016, there is no ThanksKilling 2. Funded through a successful Kickstarter campaign, where over $100,000 was raised. As of 2012, ThanksKilling 3 was the highest funded horror film on Kickstarter. I would have been pissed. Appeared in the Archivement Hunter Show Theater Mode Episode 5. Okay.
Achievement Hunter Show.
Oh. The original ThanksKilling was shot in 11 days. ThanksKilling 3 took over 50 days to shoot. When Turkey attaches a chainsaw to his arm, he looks at the camera and says, "Gravy," which is an obvious reference to Ash in the Evil Dead series. The exterior shots of Uncle Donny's place are actually a miniature house built on a putt-putt course the filmmakers found in South Dakota. The graffiti-covered alleyway where Uncle Donny and Yomi first meet is known as Art Alley in Rapid City, South Dakota. The hero Rhonda Worm puppet broke many times while shooting and constantly had to be repaired. 1/3 of the movie was shot with the original puppet, 1/3 after undergoing repairs by Troy Smith, and the final 1/3 after repairs once again. In the final film, you can clearly see the different looks for Rhonda Worm, and this is why. During the chase out of Turkey Hell, the Blarth suit got caught on the cave set, causing the monster with Troy inside to crash to the floor because the suit was built of foam he was protected and uninjured. The Blarth-Frankenturkey suit was worn and performed by creator effect designer Troy Smith. The suit itself was built out of wood, chicken wire, and spray foam, ultimately making it incredibly heavy. A small monitor was attached inside of Troy for Troy to operate from. The poster artwork was designed by Ralph Cross of Falcon White after the filmmakers found his work online and approached him with the job. Early in the movie, an infomercial plays on TV Turkey's watching. Ray Francis and Lance Predmore from the first ThanksKilling make an appearance. The working title was ThanksKilling Sequel.
50 days.
Yeah.
That's probably because of all the puppetry.
Mm-hmm. And the sets, they use far more sets than, they had the Hell set, they had stuff like that, so.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just didn't feel it, this movie. Didn't feel it. Like I said, I love the first ThanksKilling. Absolutely love it. This one was just one of those movies that's like, I'm glad I didn't fund it, because I would have been really pissed, I think. Not that I would want my money back, I'd just be like, okay. I would have been irritated. Any sort of closing thoughts?
I don't know, I just think it was all over the place, so it was just really hard to know what they were going for.
Like I said, I think they had just 1,000 different ideas. And they had the money that they could do 1,000 different ideas. And that's why it was the way it is. Because, or they were just really trying to go for, like, the surrealistic film. And achieved it, but in, like, the worst way possible. With it being so disjointed. Because each one of them could sort of be, like, an Amicus film. Where, like, short, a series of short films within a larger film. Without having any sort of like they could be without having to have sort of an attachment to it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because a lot of times it just jumped to another scene. Like, here we are, we're talking about wolves and the family being eaten by wolves, and then the Pluckmaster's talking and stuff like that. And then we're in the Featherland, where we meet the old turkey, and then we're back, and there's Wanda, and
mm-hmm.
And then
yeah, it's just all over the place with very little information in between. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
And then, like, I don't understand the whole vortex and going up there's my mind type thing, like, and then they keep referencing that. Towards the end, they keep referencing that Yomi is the original sort of like everything that puppets and toys are based off of, but never explains it.
Yeah.
If you're going to open something like that, then I want some sort of explanation at some point.
What is the purpose of even bringing Yomi into the film? Is the next one going to be...
If there is one. There's no...
I don't know.
Like I said, I feel like Yomi was a character that could have had potential. It could have had potential, but...
But I feel like bringing her in just took the spotlight away from Turkey, and that's who it was supposed to be about.
Yeah, and she actually sort of got... She was very one-dimensional, got very, very annoying, very quick. Well, thank you for joining us for this review, and I'd like to say that, remind everyone that we have a Patreon, a Redbubble, which we'll be putting up some holiday stuff. We do have WordPress. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook if you wish to do so. And we also have a PayPal. So if you wish to donate to us, you can either do it on, like I said, Patreon, or you can buy our merch at Teespring or on Redbubble. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you again soon. See you later. Bye.